if anyone asks you about the incarnations and why does the incarnations come into this universe, this vast universe, this is why the incarnations come. This science is all over the universe. Now he says, Yada yada hidharmasya, glanid bhavati bharata, abhyutamanam adharmasya, tadatmanam shijamyaham. Krishna says, my body that you're looking at, Arjun, this body comes into this universe whenever and wherever there is a decline of religious practice, adharma, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion. At that time, I descend myself. So Krishna makes the first statement why he takes reincarnation into different millennium. He just doesn't say, my body comes, no, there's a reason that propels it. There's a reason that propels God to take a reincarnation in this material dimension, right? If you are a parent, say you are a parent, and your kids are playing a game, and they're playing the game fairly. You taught them the game, right? You're the parent, you taught them how to play the game. And they're playing the game fairly, and you can hear them. You're in the next room, you can hear them, and you let them be. But if they're playing the game wrongly, and you can see argument starts, and they're starting to scream and shout, what does the parent do? Comes in the room, hello, okay, let me show you how the game is really done. So basically, Krishna is making this statement. He created this universe. He created the spiritual beings, material nature. And as we're in this material world, he's given us an opportunity for us to remember who we are and to follow a dharmic way, already, the nature of the soul. But he knows that over time, the mind for some souls get weaker and then they become adharmic. So if we look around today, it's very easy to see our nature wants to give into. We know certain things are wrong and it still get full. Krishna already answered this to Arjuna, so that adharmic nature. So Krishna says, whenever there's this adharmic nature arise in someone's life, or it pervades the planet, that's when we enter into this universe. My teachers explain, when Krishna re-entered himself into our life in this incarnation, it means at that time, he's saving us from going into the modes of tamas and ignorance. And so this is the reason why Krishna re-enters the universe, or re-enters our universe, our lifestyle, to help us to remember our dharmic way. So someone ever asked this question, why does God have so many incarnations? And why does he appear in those incarnations? First reason is to reestablish dharma. So sometimes, like I said, sometimes he doesn't have to come himself. Sometimes he sends a plenary expansion. And so we can see those on the planet today, right? Those plenary expansion of God would be beings who reminded people of Dharma in those time, place, circumstances. So a plenary expansion would be someone like Christ, someone like Muhammad, someone like, Moses, so God can work through them. But here Krishna is saying, my spiritual form, this spiritual form, it comes into this dimension when there's a big rise of irreligion, of adharma. So Arjun and his brothers are representation of dharma, and they're fighting against the evil cousins who are adharmic. And so when we start our spiritual journey, yogis, they have a phrase, you become a spiritual warrior. because we're all going to be fighting upriver, right? Material world is going this way, spiritual path is going this way. And so it's a beautiful challenge to remember who we are, that we are not the senses and the mind and the intellect, but oh, I am the spiritual being, and act from this higher place. So when we can do that more and more, we start to relate to the spiritual wisdom that Krishna is shedding, the science Krishna is shedding on Arjuna and us. Once we get this on us, oh wow, this is why things happen, and the karma and the laws of nature. Okay, then you learn to control the mind, senses, and intellect. And then we go on the spiritual journey. Otherwise, we'll just become a slave to the senses, right? How many of us saw ourselves as a slave to one of these senses today? Right? All of us, right? So every day is an opportunity for us to, okay, let's control the senses, right? And when we do control it, it's like instant reaction, instant inner happiness comes in. Wow, okay, yes, just by refining the senses a bit. Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhunam, vinaschaya chaduskritam, dharma samstapanartaya, sambhavami yuge yuge. So I think last week I told you there's 3 reasons why Krishna comes into the material world, right? So this is where that answer comes from. First, to reestablish the Dharma. Then he says, in order to deliver the pious, so the devotee, those who are devoted, I deliver them, and to annihilate miscreants or adharmic beings, as well as to reestablish the Dharma, principles of religion. I advent myself millennium after millennium, yuge yuge. So these are the 3 reasons. I gave it to you last week, but this is the mantra for it, where it came from. To protect anyone who's devoted, to remove evil from the planet, and to reestablish Dharma. So this is throughout the Vedas. When we study any of the incarnations, we see that each incarnation comes in and does that. On this planet, we can see the soul is pure, but some people have developed some really demoniac mentalities, and they would exploit another living entity. And they might not change this life. Their psyche is too polluted. They're not as demoniac as the people Krishna was killing on the Battle of Kurukshetra. They are not as pure enough, right? So when you read the Bhagavatam, one demon, he wanted to get all the powers of the world. He meditated for something like 1,000 years to get those powers. And today, people don't have that kind of dedication. So hopefully but someone's someone's evil mentality can be purified by right association, right? So if someone associates with someone who is evolved, it can rub off slowly. So I like to, when I understood the science of how energetics work, we're living on an energetic universe. And you understand, as you raise your vibration, you attract certain things. And so even if you are raising your vibration and something negative comes around you, this is what will happen. Their vibration comes up. And even if it's fur, just that moment of time they were with you. Right? I remember I was traveling with my guru, and one person, he's a devotee, but he kind of left devotee association and he got into drugs and selling drugs. And a lot of people were like, so I was like, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, how is my guru going to sit down with this person? I was new, right? So I traveled with him and we went, and my guru went to meet him. right? Me and my guru and a few others, we went to meet this one friend of his. And my guru looked at him and my guru said, how come every time I meet you, I only see the sweet side of you? And the person said, Guru Swamiji, only around you, my sweet side comes out. In other words, right? By the association, his sweet, but you know, and that's why we need to find that association constantly again and again and again. And from that experience, I realized it doesn't matter how far evil-minded someone goes, they can get purified because the soul is purified, is pure. It just needs the right association. The problem is when someone is so evil-minded, they're in the modes of tamas and rajas, right? It's hard for them to even think to want to associate with a vibration in the mode of goodness or beyond. And that's why sometimes it takes we call it agyata sukriti, causeless mercy from God, where someone can raise their vibration. They get association of someone who's on a higher frequency. So here Krishna is giving us an opportunity as he shares this wisdom with Arjuna, with us. He's telling us indirectly, purify yourself, raise the vibration, and be an ambassador for higher frequency. So if anyone asks you about the incarnations and why does the incarnations come into this universe, this vast universe, this is why the incarnations come: to protect the pious or the bhakta, the devotee, to annihilate demonia, and to reestablish spiritual dharma, spiritual practices. So beautiful, powerful part of the sutra.